You're welcome back. There is a relationship between a nation's road infrastructure and economic growth. Between the local, state, and federal governments, Nigeria has about 200,000 kilometers of road networks, out of which just 39,000 kilometers are paved. In November 2002, the Federal Government Roads Maintenance Agency was established with the enactment of the Federal Road Maintenance Agency Act 2002. The agency monitors and maintains federal trunk roads across the nation. Our guest today on our special interview segment is the Managing Director and Chief Executive Officer of FERMA, Engineer Gabriel Amuchi. Engineer, you're welcome on the program.
Thank you.
It's nice having you.
Thank you.
Yeah, I want to start by asking you this question. In your candid assessment and opinion, do you think FERMA is fulfilling its mandate?
Yes, thank you, Femi. I think very much that FERMA is fulfilling its mandate because since the inception of FERMA, you find that road maintenance has become institutionalized in our country, unlike what was the practice in the past. And frankly speaking, if this maintenance agency has not been in place, we wouldn't know how to assess what will have been the state and condition of our federal roads all over the country. So since 2003 that FERMA started operation effectively, maintenance have been routine, regular, and sustained. So that much, I would say that FERMA is fulfilling its mandate of monitoring and effective maintenance of federal roads in the country.
Yeah, I want to, again, when FERMA came on board, it was like a compromise program, as it were, because toll plazas were scrapped, and there was supposed to be a stream of income that will sustain FERMA over the years. Is this in practice?
Yeah, when FERMA came on board, there were toll plazas. But halfway, there was a proposal to have 5% pump price from petroleum products for the road, maintenance of roads. And this proposal was meant to be spent 40% to the Federal Road Maintenance Agency, and then 60% to be shared among the states that have similar maintenance agencies. But after the demolition of the toll plazas, unfortunately, we've not been able to access the 5% user charge proposed for road maintenance. Efforts are being made, and the government is very willing to see how that can commence. But as I speak with you, we're here to commence access to that fund.
One of the schemes that you introduced since you became Managing Director and CEO of FERMA is preventive maintenance and road surveillance program. How far have you gone with this?
Yes, as soon as we came to find out since the inception of FERMA, maintenance has become something like a stopgap. They were doing a short-term program to recover the roads that were built over 30, 40 years ago that have become very weak and old. So what we did as soon as we took office was to introduce the preventive maintenance program. And this was aimed at ensuring that at every given time, road maintenance programs and activities were sustained on our highways. The corrective approach we inherited was expensive and not effective. Not too effective in the sense that we were waiting at that time for roads actually to fail. And when you now intervene, it's more expensive. You would have lost a lot of funds with respect to haulage of goods and services, and you move in, it's costly to reinstate. So we found after our studies that we can do preventive maintenance, which means as soon as a road is built, rehabilitated, fully constructed, the mandatory one-year maintenance program of the contractor is over. Okay. You hand it over to FERMA. We start our maintenance from that day. And that way, okay, we look at the road, find out if there are cracks to deal with. We seal the cracks. And if there are minor erosion at the shoulders, we seal them up. Because it is from these cracks that water gets into the pavement, gets weakened, and potholes develop. And of course, if the potholes are not attended to, you have major failure. But if you seal the cracks early, you don't get potholes. And if you patch the potholes early, you don't get major failure. So that's why we introduced the preventive maintenance.
Now, everywhere you go in Nigeria, you see FERMA signposts on our highways, you see your men at work. But after finishing, 12 months after, or even less than that, in some instances, the roads have failed. What's the problem? Is the quality of job done not being monitored?
Yes, there's also a lot of improvement in that direction. We have introduced for maintenance contracts percentage retention. If you do a poor quality job, even after all the monitoring, and it fails earlier than scheduled, expected time, you are meant to lose a % of your contract sum, with which the agency uses to reinstate the failure. And if the jobs are done by direct labor, our monitoring has become very intensive. What is happening on the roads actually is that we have roads that have lasted their full lifespan and beyond. So due to age, wearing and tear, the pavements have become very weak. So if you are dealing with an identified failure, the truth is that the adjoining locations are equally weak. So in the next 1 or 2 rainy seasons, some cracks can start to develop and you attack them. Because of the funding modality, we're ensuring now that we're constantly on these roads. You finish the repair, you keep monitoring to ensure that other failures that manifest are attended to. That is what it is. Because
going to your mandate and your terms of reference, you're supposed to have what we call camps, monitoring camps on our highways. We haven't seen that. Nigerians haven't seen that. And of course, observation centers at about 31 true plazas that were abolished.
Yes, we have now about 90 number observation camps built all over the country.
Okay.
And these observation camps, if you go around the roads and you find where you have road safety, police, and FERMA surveillance team, the observation camps, we call them road support services camps, built for the monitoring of highways. They were identified to be located in critical locations and flashpoints, where, for instance, police can swing into action if there is heinous activity and hoodlums. Okay. And of course, if there is an accident,
so from that location,
yes, from that location, the Federal Road Safety Corps can also move into the accident scene, save life, because in their own components, you have a small clinic for emergency intervention and first aid treatment. Okay. To date, we have commissioned over 70, and we have built more than 90, and they're all over the country, north, south, east, west.
Yeah, experts have said that in view of the fact that about 95% of our transportation in Nigeria is done on the road. That is, our passenger movement and, of course, freighting are always on the road. And that we have to move beyond asphalt paving of our roads, that we can embrace concrete paving. Are you thinking along this line?
Yes. The concrete pavement we refer to as rigid pavement is more durable, longer lifespan, and costlier. So if you have funds to build concrete pavement at locations where they are suitable, it is the best option. What do I mean by locations where they are suitable? For instance, on access routes to refineries, because of the spillage of chemicals from the tankers. It doesn't behave well, those spillage of chemicals and petroleum products with bituminous pavement. They cause disintegration and surface loss. But if it is a rigid pavement made of cement concrete, they will last longer and easy to clean. But it costs a lot more to put cement concrete in place than to put asphaltic concrete. But we have started the experimental process of identified routes, trial case, to get some pavements built by the use of cement concrete, after which we put them to maintenance and see how it works. The truth is that the frequent failure is quite related to the fact that most of these roads now require total resurfacing. That will be very, very expensive. And if you don't have all the sums of money to do that collectively and at the same time, you must, like it is in every country, continue with the routine maintenance, regular maintenance, selective repairs that we're doing right now. In every place you go to, every part of the world, when roads are built, you don't walk away. There must be one form of maintenance or the other going on all the time. You don't notice them if failure has not manifested. But it is always like that in developed world, and that's the culture we're imbibing to support the transformation agenda of Mr. President.
Okay. One of the initiatives that you've introduced is what you call Committee on Surveillance and Action Against Road Abuse. Share that with me.
Yes, we also identified that in addition to age overloading, wear and tear. Some road failures we found were, caused by human action. For instance, it's only in this country you find that Nigerians go to bridge handrails to cut the metal railings to go and weld spoons and what have you. And they exposed the bridge railings, kept them open and bare, and travelers, run into if unsuspected, into ditches, and even to sometimes jump into the river. So we found that we could no longer tolerate that. Sometimes you get to very busy federal highway, you find people hawking and trading on the shoulders. Our drainage structures in most urban areas have been converted into refuse dumps. They dump refuse, block the drain, and if the drain does not flow and discharge appropriately, of course it floods the road, and water is the first enemy, of flexible pavement. So we looked at all of that and said, okay, let us make a proposal that was approved by the Council of Works and by the Honorable Minister for Works, that we will begin to develop a joint action against road abuses. That way, we involve the police, the Army Engineering Corps, the Federal Road Safety Corps, and then the Civil Defense Unit, and then FERMA, and the Federal Highways, to do continuous monitoring of our roads, which is, of course, a part of the mandate of the agency, monitoring. And we identify areas that cause gridlock and clean them up. We also compel trailers to park into the trailer parks we have provided. Some of them were concluding, some have been fenced. We will finish them and ensure that rather than park trailers along the road and reduce the road capacity, we move them to the trailer parks and reduce the likelihood of causing accidents. So that's the essence of the action against road abuses.
Surveillance.
Surveillance and road abuses. And then the surveillance aspect is that we will begin to know now what is happening on the road early enough, rather than wait and you get a call that the road has severed, people can no longer cross. So we get warning early. We have emergency lines where Nigerians can call, and the surveillance team identifies likely failure. We intervene early. That reduces the cost, reduces the damage that would have otherwise occurred.
Beautiful. Now, talking about your mandate, street light maintenance and bridge maintenance are part of your mandate. What are you doing in this regard? Because when you travel on Nigerian roads, they are in total darkness in the night. That's why night travel is dangerous. What are you doing in this regard?
Yes, we have taken a couple of locations for the installation of street lights. For instance, it will interest you to know that the entire 16 kilometers or thereabout of Third Mainland Bridge is lit up by FERMA. We have about 4 generating sets providing power. Third Mainland Bridge. Then in Kefi, we'll have the solar-powered lighting system. Even in along this road to Lokoja, those bridges there that are lit up with FERMA, we'll have the solar system. We'll also the conventional power generator that provides. So the thing is that it also requires sustained maintenance. You must change the bulbs. Like on Onitsha Bridge, it was lit up by FERMA, we're sustaining the maintenance. So it's in selective locations. We have also experienced vandalization in some places. You install these things like in Benin, interchanges, we've provided them. Sometimes the cables are cut. Sometimes the generating sets parts are removed. But with the surveillance system we have put in place, we're monitoring all of that. And of course, partnering with the host communities, letting them know that the property of government is your property. You must help in the maintenance and security. And with these actions we have put in place, we're increasing the chances of getting them on all the time.
We are moving into a very busy season. We are moving into the Christmas and New Year season where most Nigerians will be on the road. Do you have a mechanism in place to ensure that, our roads are fixed before Nigerians start trooping on roads?
Yes. Since we took office, we have sustained that culture of ensuring that the entire period of November to January, all FERMA engineers in the field headquarters and the field offices don't go on leave. So and that coincides, the end of year Yuletide period coincides with the construction season, the dry weather. So it favors our construction and repairs. We intensify all our effort. In fact, towards the end of October, we've had a seminar for all of them, guiding them on the intensive work we were proposed for the year. So as I speak with you, all our patchers, we would have about 40 road patchers that were acquired on the road, ensuring that potholes are sealed, failures are repaired promptly before the heavy movement of people in the December period. Additionally, we have also concluded an agreement to flag off the intensive repair work for 2 weeks that will start from next week all over the country. So what you find now, since the dry season is setting, and that will be sustained January and February, is constant response and intensive and aggressive work on all our federal highways all over the country. So everywhere you go, you find our men on the road. The vegetation control, because it's dry season, we'll conclude the vegetation, it's not going to grow so fast. Sealing of cracks, pothole patching and repair of shoulders, bridge handrails. And to talk about bridges, you find that sometimes we block a road or two, for 2 or 3 hours, trying to reinstate the expansion gaps that have hitherto to be so wide and began to pose danger to road users. You will know that those works are going on. But I've just concluded what we're doing now between Lokoja, that bridge across the Niger. The expansion gaps were wearing off, and we just concluded the repairs. So bridge repair, bridge maintenance, bridge inspection is a continuous integral part of FERMA activity. Okay.
And going through your mandate, I saw something that is very interesting, that you also have responsibility for traffic control and, of course, road safety standard. Yes. Is that not a clash of interest between you and FRSC?
No. Well, at this point, I would love to tell you that FRSC have been very effective collaborating with FERMA with respect to traffic control. The thing is synergy. I went on Ajibandele Shagamu alignment, very busy road, and that was 3 weeks ago. And then I told them some of the complaints Nigerians were making that time was that the road get blocked, and they think each blockage is due to failure. We found that sometimes deliberately people are riding on opposite directions in a dual carriageway. You leave your lane, go head on the opposite lane, unchecked. So I quickly mentioned it to the road safety authorities, and they swung into action quickly and then began to ensure that we exercise some amount of patience. If you're on a road and there's little hold up, under 2-3 minutes we clear, rather than jump into another lane and block the entire route. So they are beginning to work with FEMA and help to ensure that traffic control is effective, and the elements of road surveillance that will also make us report on time where we have undue blockage. We involve them because they're in the road surveillance team. So they work with us in the action against the committee against road abuses and road surveillance, and we synergize to get results. Well, working for government, what is important is that Nigerians get best from all the institutions that government has put in place.
If indeed Nigeria is working and desirous of joining one of the 20 economies in the world by the year 2020, don't you think 200,000 kilometers of paved roads to 39,000 though, 200,000 network of roads, but 39,000 are paved? Do you think that this is enough?
Yes, the road structure is there. The network is already there. What we're doing, and I'm glad to let you know that a lot of these roads are now being dualized, improving vehicular movement and safety. For instance, the alignment from Abuja all through to Lokoja onto Benin. If that alignment that is the center of this country is well paved and dualized, you will see a lot of improvement in travel time and vehicular movement and safety. We have started the strategic dualization and improvement of all this network of roads. And I'm sure that with this sustained, the way the transformation agenda has been structured, we will get there in 2020. We at least would have had additional good lengths of paved road that are in good motorable condition all year round to support the growth of our economy.
Okay, Engineer, your mandate is to be on the federal trunk roads. Do you form synergy with state and local government?
Yes, we relate with states quite closely, because in the 36 states of the Federation and FCT, we have FERMA offices, and we have in the 6 zones of the country, FERMA zonal offices. When we have jobs to do, we notify the respective commissioners of works, and then the controllers of works of Federal Ministry of Works. So all of us that are involved as stakeholders in the maintenance and repair and reconstruction and rehabilitation of roads work closely together. We liaise with the states, and at each time we'll have the Council of Works. You remember that I do this almost yearly. All the commissioners of works and then directors of highways and officials of FERMA meet closely to interact on the best way to handle road maintenance and rehabilitation across the country. So we synergize and work together. Sometimes you find states having to do with some lengths of federal roads. They let us know, give the details of what is required as they lay down guideline, and then they're allowed to do that. So we synergize and work together. Sometimes commissioners of work call me quite often.
From states?
From states, to let me know where FEMA has done very well and where we have challenges. And I also call to tell them to let me know if I have an engineer at the state that is not doing too well, let me know what to do. And that's why all my executive directors, all my management staff are involved in monitoring. They travel every weekend to see what, and each time you go, you look at the chances of seeing the Commissioner for Works to tell you how we are faring, where we have gaps.
Beyond Commissioner of Works, do you have a feedback mechanism where Nigerians can just get back to you that between so place and so place, the roads are failing, your contractors are not doing very well, so that when you're in Abuja, wherever you are, you get feedback across the nation? Do you have that mechanism?
Exactly. We started that since 2 years that we came on board. We have what we call quick contact lines that we give to you. We show them on
your programs.
Okay. 4 lines that you can call and make reports. Send text messages. In fact, we have responded a lot to that, especially from Tanker Drivers Union, Transporters Union, and then other stakeholders and Nigerians. We'll have that as a quick response mechanism to make us actively in charge.
Engineer, let's go back to your committee on surveillance and, of course, action against road abuse. What is your advice for Nigerians to make this a success?
Yes. My advice for Nigerians is that, one, Nigerians should see our road infrastructure as their own property, government property built with our money for all of us to collectively protect them and use them properly to our advantage and to help the growth of our economy. 2, we should stop undue destruction of road infrastructure, vandalization, cutting of course, we are starting to replace most of these metal handrails with concrete, but whatever we have in place should be protected. 3, the habit of trading on the road and dumping refuse on drainage channels, I advise Nigerians to desist from all of this, because the spillover effect is damage to our road that collectively affect all of us. If a road failure leads to an accident, you never know who is involved. And if a road failure leads to lack of movement, movement of goods and services is hampered. 4, we should begin to look at road infrastructure as our property and own them. We have started the stakeholders joint venture with all the tanker drivers associations, and of course the Public Work Department of FEMA, along with Shopee, is mobilizing youths at road corridors close to federal highways for vegetation control and training them to work on desiltation and road repairs. Because this means that everybody has a stake on our road. If your brother is walking there, you protect the road because it's your brother's stretch.
Yes.
And we do this to encourage youths who before now don't have anything to do, engage them, give them stipends at the end of the month, and keep them busy, and in the process, train them on the act of road maintenance and then keeping our roads safe.
Don't you think to make this effective, you need to evolve a policing system that will arrest offenders and bring them to justice?
Yes, that is the precise function of the Road Abuses Committee, and that's why I have given you the list of membership that include the police, and luckily the Nigerian Army Engineers Chief of Army Staff released that they should join us for effect. So what we're doing now is first campaign, then implementation, and of course the next stage is arrest and trial through the prosecution, through the appropriate authorities. So it's a process of awareness campaign. We'll explain to them the disadvantages and the need to stop it. if you persist and insist on doing the wrong thing, of course,
you'll be apprehended
prosecution,
and brought to justice.
That's it.
Thank you very much.
Thank
Engineer.
you.
Thank you very much for coming on the program.
Thank you very much.
That has been Engineer Amuchi, Gabriel, speaking on the activities of FERMA.